Hello everybody, welcome to the first ever Geek Horizons podcast. My name is Blue and joining me here today is...
Aaron S., film and game critic for Geek Horizons.
And Faison from Faison11 YouTube channel and proprietor of Geek Horizons.
And I am from the Meister Blue YouTube channel where we have all things otaku, including but not limited to anime and video games. And for this episode, we're going to take 15 minutes to go around the table talking about what all we've been doing lately in terms of the different medias, which include anything from film, TV, books, to games.
We do have a literal table.
We have a literal table.
Yes.
It's not round, but we're going to go around it.
But it's quite solid.
Yes, very solid.
Sturdy tables.
Quite sturdy.
So, let's start with our proprietor, Faison. What have you been up to lately with the media?
Great. Basically, I started a gig on my YouTube channel where I started reviewing some mods for Skyrim, since that seems to be my weird obsession. So far, I was looking at the house mods, because there are some really amazing ones out there. I looked at one a few days ago called Amr's Refuge. I have no freaking idea how to pronounce it, but yeah, maybe.
That's not bad.
But it was impressive. It was very well built. It was a little dark, and I suck at directions. Can't even find my way out of my own house most of the time. So it was confusing for me, but it was nice. So I plan on doing more of those, and hopefully not dying because I fell off a cliff once or twice doing another one.
I hate when that happens, don't you?
Yeah, I know. God damn it. But other than that, I've been keeping up with, they're releasing, of course, the CW is releasing a Flash show.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. As you guys know, the Flash is my favorite superhero of all time. I know pretty much absolutely everything about him. Not in a creepy kind of way, mind you.
But in a very creepy kind of way.
In an exceptionally creepy type
Now,
way.
I was going to ask you a question. Did you hear now they've announced Captain Cool as going to be a villain in the series?
Yeah, they're having Captain Cold in it. I
Cold.
think Wentworth Miller is a great choice for him. He kind of fits his look, his vibe. I just still don't like the look of the show as a whole. Like, the whole thing is, if they would have made this show Wally West as the Flash, I would have no problems. But that they chose Barry Allen and have just butchered him, his personality, his persona, the way he acts, the way he moves. Mm-hmm. They butchered it, and that's really shit. And the whole thing that I used to love about it is that compared to all the other heroes I used to read, his gal was completely different than everyone else. The other ones are always this blonde hair, blue-eyed, perky, I do this and I go here. Mm-hmm. Help me! But yeah, Iris, she's dark hair, green-eyed, doesn't give any shits. She kicks ass. She's a reporter. She's up in your face, and
love that in a woman.
She's so much more. She's so much different than him because he's completely socially awkward, but has this amazing sense of justice that even when people hate him because they thought, since he wore red, they thought he was a communist. So even when people hated him, he still was like, I'm going to still save you. Because, don't laugh at me.
The Flash is a communist.
Communist back in the war.
Communist with his light speed ability.
I've pretty much taken up this whole podcast. Anyway, so that's all I've been
You're only
up
at
to.
3 minutes.
Oh, really?
We each have a total of 5 minutes per person if we're going through.
Oh, wow. Anyway,
back
to my angry rant then.
Yes,
anyway, they've just butchered all the characterization. Now, they've been doing that over time with every other show. I mean, the Arrow's probably actually the best one they've done. Granted, I've never been a fan of Oliver McQueen, but that's probably the best one they've actually done. Smallville was good, but then it went weirdly off kilter.
But now it seems like the Flash is really going to follow in that same suit as Arrow does. It seems like it's just going to be really close to that kind of formula.
They're trying really hard with it, and I appreciate the amount of effort they're putting into it. I just wish they wouldn't butcher it as hard as they would. The kid doesn't even, I have nothing against him, cannot remember his name for the life of me. I don't have anything against him, it's just that he's not a Barry Allen. Do I need to go down there and bring them pictures of what the Flash looks like? Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, he's kind of got a baby face, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks like he's 12. I would not go and say, wow, that's a forensic scientist who happens to be a superhero who got struck by lightning and fell in chemicals at the same friggin' time. He wouldn't be.
Well, of course.
No.
But like I said, he looks like a Wally West. I would throw him as Wally West any day. Just not my Barry.
Not your belly.
Fuck it, I'm done.
Well, that was great.
In that case, moving on to you, Ernest.
Well, the biggest thing I've been up to lately is just keeping up with the announcement of new games. I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but the biggest one I'm really looking forward to is the next Doom.
Doom. Is it Doom 4 or is it... Oh, no, they're just calling it Doom.
They're just calling
they're
it
just actually like...
It's so goddamn confusing.
I know. But
I want to play Doom.
It was,
Which one?
It was
I
like...
shouldn't have to tell you.
But it's kind of like DMC, you know, trying to bring Devil May Cry, which I hope they do a sequel
Well,
to
they did
DMC.
a shitty version of that.
Oh, yeah.
I like my Dante being friggin' Edward.
White-haired, yeah.
Edward Cullen.
But I love. But anyway, yeah. So you know, we were. You're really gonna.
That's what he looks like to me. Don't laugh at me. He looks. They Edwardized him.
So you're talking about the new one? Okay, good.
Yeah, the new
I thought you were
one.
talking
we're
about
talking
you
about
like
the
the
new
good one.
No.
But hey, man, I'm a hardcore Devil May Cry fan. You know, so like even the bad ones, like really bad, I love it all.
Hey, the gameplay was sick though.
Badass gameplay. And you know, my biggest thing I love about Devil May Cry is the relationship between Dante and Virgil. So for me, the best moment was at the end where you knew they were going to fight. And they get that square off and they start walking around each other and you just know it's going to happen. I thought that was great. But anyway, Doom. Let's go back to Doom. They weren't back to Doom. They weren't allowed to show off any footage for the new game, but from what the press had to say about it, it seems like it's going back to what made Doom so great. It's just a lot of enemies, gore, and no reload button. I mean, I think that sounds pretty good. I mean, and id Software, call them Bethesda now, I guess.
Yeah, they pretty much took him over.
During the Rage area.
Yeah, and speaking, I wanted to talk about Rage. I'm thankful you mentioned that. I really hope it doesn't become like what Rage did.
You know, everyone gives Rage a lot of shit. I actually really enjoyed what it tried to do.
I enjoyed that too, but
I think it got a little muddy.
It got too hyped.
Yeah.
It was like built up like id and Bethesda are together.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then you get it and you're like, Borderlands just came out.
For me,
it's a good game. It's just not.
It
didn't meet the hype. But granted, you know that I'm not a big fan of Borderlands either. It's
soulless. I really thought Rage just didn't really have much character to it, which is kind of, I hate to say that, but you know, it does kind of have that tendency. You know, since like Doom 3, it was just more about the gameplay and just kind of following with,
which is not the Bethesda way, which is weird.
And they follow a gaming trend, and I think that's the worst thing you can ever do is just follow a trend. Because you got to make your own way, and you also got to do what inspires you. So you really got to imagine, if you're a publisher, you know, you're making games, you got to do something that you would want to play. So, you know, I look at Evolve. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it.
Definitely.
That looks amazing. Left 4 Dead, but with giant monsters. Okay. I'm like a little kid watching
that
Godzilla
game is
again.
what Legendary wanted to be. Do you remember Legendary?
Oh god, I actually really loved Legendary.
Dude,
That's because they didn't have anything else out.
He and I totally went fanboy in that game.
That is what that game wanted to be.
Yeah. And I just saw footage of the Kraken, the new monster.
Yeah.
Looks amazing, and the third one is coming out. I mean, that's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great game. But the other thing I've been doing a lot of as well is playing the beta for Destiny, which, you know, I know people have been having reservations about it, feeling like, oh, you know, it doesn't look that great. But let me tell you something. Replayability and just having a system that allows the player to really customize and kind of have the experience they want to have is really important. I think that Destiny is going to have that. Customization is definitely a big key with it.
I'm wondering if people have reservations because it kind of looks almost the way Brink did before it came out.
Yes.
And so I think that people are seeing that and they're like, I don't know if I want to get into another Brink.
Because Brink was supposed to be great, but it turned out being nothing. Like
mediocre. It was.
It just wasn't good. But I really got to say, Destiny is really. I mean, like, the upgrade system is something new that I had never really seen before, where you don't, like, just, like, you get level 5 and then you can get this ability. It's like a lot of them, yes, you do get level 5, you get Nova Bomb or whatever, but by constantly using your abilities, you upgrade them further, and the weapons and armor are the same way. So if you get enough kills with a battle rifle, scoped, then you can get a new scope.
Yeah. I always appreciate custom advancement versus, like, when you just level up, you get a random point. It's nice to actually have to use this ability to get better at it.
Yeah, you need because
it's logical.
Like one big challenge in it I found was like doing the double jump. It's like a hover ability, and getting the next one where it's a lot more controlled. You really got to do it a lot, and you really got to learn how to do it. But it's great, and it's like taking MMO and mixing with Halo. So
nice.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, I guess we'll move on to me.
Yeah.
It's on to you, Toothpick Boy.
What have I been up to lately? Well,
happened?
scripting my next anime video.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. I don't want to say on the podcast what it is, but most people probably know what it is. It involves a franchise of mine that I've really loved for a very long time, being brutally raped. And
Rape isn't good, man.
Oh, the rape.
but that's the anime front. Video game-wise, I've just been going through and doing videos on all of the Steam games that I bought during the last Steam Summer
God.
Sale.
Oh boy,
The
that's a lot.
hundreds.
I bought 21 games, and I was gifted 2. So,
I was one of them.
yes, you were one of them. But I've been going through doing videos on those, as well as maintaining my Let's Plays that I've been doing on Moemon, Zelda, which makes me sad. Nintendo finally found my Zelda videos.
Oh boy, and what happened?
Part of the
Nintendo's
audio
notorious.
is destroyed now because they didn't like that I had their song in it.
What the hell?
It's Nintendo. Nintendo's been like that on YouTube. They're not as bad as Sega though. Sega will have your channel shut down if they find anything.
What is with the two of them that they're absolute dicks when it comes to YouTube
Especially since
videos?
they're like
You would
their
think
folks
they-
are on children and like the younger
that, and
demographic.
you would think
I mean,
that they'd be like, "Hey, this is like pretty much free advertising for us."
Yeah,
you know?
that's the
'Cause
argument.
It's
Is
not,
people
like,
are supposed to
it's not like you're playing it saying, "This is shit, never buy it."
Yeah. The only problem with mine is I haven't even monetized my video, so I'm not even making money off of it.
Yeah.
you know, I was reading something the other day that Sony wants Nintendo's publishers.
Yeah?
Yeah, they want them. It's like, because, you know, we've always said, you know, like the Wii and the Wii U, you know, they're good hardware, but you need someone who's going to do some interesting with it, you know? Like, I remember Ken Levine saying he'd love to get in the Wii U, but...
The Wii U has actually taken a huge jump forward over the summer. This past month alone, the top-selling video games released were Wii U games. It was Mario Kart 8 and Tomodachi Life on the 3DS. So Nintendo's had the two top-selling slots this past month in terms of what games were being sold.
That's
Wow.
not bad.
However, it also Xbox doubled its sales, its console sales, as opposed to last month because they announced the Connectless Xbox.
But
So now everyone's like, I can buy one now.
But they did lose. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Xbox Entertainment, like the film branch, was closed down.
Yeah, the phone branch.
Oh,
No, the phone. They teamed up, I think, with a phone company, and then a lot of their I think 6,000 jobs are being.
It
let
was
go.
a huge number. They said it was like the biggest in tech history. I think.
Yeah, biggest Microsoft's ever gone through.
Wow.
In terms of new things I've been doing with video games, though, I went to the library today with the daycare I work at,
Oh boy!
and I picked up this dandy little treasure from the past
Which I applaud
From
you
the
for.
deep past.
for 25 cents at
Oh
the
my God.
library.
That is
The
a-
Magic School Bus Inside the Earth, a fun-filled, backpacked science adventure.
That is a steal.
Designed for
25 cents.
Microsoft Windows 95.
I played that when I was like 4 years old.
Me too. I remember it was on the first computer games I ever got into.
I brought it here mainly so I could read the back on the podcast. Think you know what's below your feet? Guess again. There are layers of fun and learning as you tunnel to explore the Earth's landscapes on the Magic School Bus. Help Arnold find his missing rocks and minerals along the way. When you join Miss Frizzle's class in their wacky adventures, there's a whole lot of fun and facts and activities headed your way.
Yeah, he needs to find those jewels, doesn't he, in those
She
rocks?
almost killed those kids so many
So many times.
This bitch would have been sued.
times. She was the greatest teacher that almost killed her kids.
The cover is a picture of the bus being covered in lava from an active volcano, and all the
And
kids
they're
are like,
smiling.
ah.
Remember, kids, avoid lava. Just duck and roll.
They're all smiling,
that.
having a great time burning to death.
Meanwhile, the bus is looking back at them like, kill me!
God.
Boy.
And they were gonna remake that?
Oh God.
Oh, speaking of you know
Just
what?
leave it.
All right.
Let
you know
it
what?
lie.
You know what ancient game they're going to be making into a movie?
No.
Tales of Monkey Island?
Space Invaders. And it's being produced by the marvelous minds that gave us Batman and Robin.
Yes!
Wait.
Is Schumacher
That Batman and
That
Robin?
Batman and Robin.
is Schumacher directing it?
Oh, God.
No, but
Ah.
he's producing it. He's
Okay, that's
producing
good
it, though.
then. Because I want them to do what they did with the Doom movie, where they randomly had first-person shots, just
That
so
was
everyone would be
cool.
like, "This is from the game." Wink, wink. I want them to do scenes like that on this movie, where it's showing the actual layout of the.
It'd be even
fucking-
better if they had a way of just publicly saying, like, buy this damn game.
Oh God!
Play
The
it.
Doom movie that had absolutely nothing to do with Doom.
But I still love
That
it.
randomly had The Rock in it.
Yeah. And Carl Urban.
Come
was
see
actually
Dwayne The Rock Johnson featuring Doom.
Yeah, that was just, and they were like, "Here's the arc, and here's this." And I was like, "What are you even doing?"
Doesn't make any sense. I don't get it, but who cares?
They're demons released from a hell pit.
Yeah, they're not our ancient ancestors.
They
I'm
didn't even
sorry.
have the crazy scientist guy who planned the whole thing. They just it was
Whatever happened to the Dead Space movie? I remember they always said they were going to do one of
probably
those.
axed it.
Yeah,
Probably.
like with BioShock.
Yeah.
Maybe after the third game, they were like, maybe we should consider something else.
All right, well, you know, one thing I'm hearing all over the internet now is everyone asking, are they canceling the Sinister Six movie for Spider-Man?
I say we hold off on that until we get into the topics today, because eventually
Just in
that's
case.
likely going to come up just in case.
Okay, cool.
We never know.
But yes, now we're going to be moving on to the magical section of this here little bit, where we take this magical hat that I brought, we pick one of the topics we've all thrown in, and talk about it for 30 minutes. We stop at the 30-minute mark, no matter how much blood has been shed or where we're at.
All right,
So,
who picked?
who wants to pick for the first video? It's not me. I'm holding the hat, and I gave the opening announcement.
I'll put my hand in.
Opted out on that one.
All right, and the first one is video game stereotypes.
Oh,
Stereotype.
joy.
Oh boy! All right. Can we ask whose this was?
Not mine.
Oh, it was mine.
That was beautiful.
Of course, the woman is going to put in the one about stereotypes, right?
Well,
However, I can
probably.
Are you ready for some magical transitioning action? I'm
Yes.
going to transition this from the previous conversations we've been having. Doom is being remade. Doom has a video game stereotype that has died out lately, because Doom and all of them came out around the same time as like Contra and Duke Nukem, where you had the big quote-unquote testosterone-filled guy always saving the chicks
Always
and
a badass.
destroying the monsters.
Yeah.
That's kind of died out lately. We've had video game heroes who are not like big, hulking, monstrous dudes just holding 50 guns and killing things.
Oh, that is badass.
Actually, I would almost argue that's almost completely rare to see anymore.
Especially since the newest Duke Nukem game came out and everyone's like, this is shit.
This is stupid.
They absolutely hate it.
I think one of the reasons, it is because the game's pretty much horrible, but one of the reasons I think is because that like people who were like, Duke is awesome! He's no longer awesome in today's standards.
yeah.
Today's standards.
They all
He's
got-
an asshole.
Yeah, they all got married and realized who really runs the roost.
Yes, it's the woman.
That Duke
So
Nukem guy's
when
an
you're seeing these
asshole.
women
Yeah.
being like portrayed in such horrible,
especially
disgusting
since-
ways, I
yeah.
mean, come on.
Especially since women take up so much of the market now that, I mean, we're pretty much almost level with you males.
Pretty close
much.
by this
There.
point.
Getting there. Still got a ways to go, but getting there.
Yeah,
we're
still have a
getting
ways
there
to go
slowly
before
but
we
surely.
get out of all the crap that we get. But
Yeah, but there's always going to be a market for that crap, which is always so weird. It's like I always wonder, how can they make a movie that's like $100 million and it's going to be shit? It was like that last Adam Sandler movie. It did
I didn't even see it.
did terribly at the box office. It cost like, I can't remember what it was, but man, it's like, how can you just spend that money on just something that just looks horrible?
The same way they spent money on a movie of his that was that the main feature was child rape, pretty much.
what?
That movie, Here's My Boy, it's about him, his teacher seducing him as he's a kid, and he has a kid with her, and he grows up with that kid. And I'm like, you made a movie about this?
Yeah. Yep, I remember
Good
that.
God,
now.
thank God I missed that one.
Yep, I remember that one. I never
Jesus.
saw it, but sheesh, yeah.
You two would actually be able to answer this in the topic of video game stereotypes involving women and everything. How did the new Lara Croft seem? In the new, I've not played the new Tomb Raider
Oh,
game, but I've
I-
heard some really great things about
No,
it.
actually, it was really good. Like, I was actually really impressed with it just because, I mean, back when I was a kid, I started with Tomb Raider. It was one of the first games I ever played. Me and my mom would spend hours making fun of her triangle boobs.
Oh,
and get
triangle
killed by
boobs.
bats that we couldn't figure out how the hell to get away from
Because you're
them.
looking at the triangle boobs?
As we're staring at the triangle boobs.
Because I just
The one
got...
giant uniboob.
I literally just got in the mail last week the first Tomb Raider game on PlayStation because I bought it, and I was
Yeah.
like, I want to
Yeah.
play this. I looked on the back, and on the back it says, sometimes a killer body just isn't enough. And so what is the new Lara Croft in the new video game like in comparison?
You know, she's actually, like, from a personality standpoint, she's a lot more down to earth.
Yeah?
She's very focused. It's not even when the movies had come out with Angelina Jolie, like
Oh boy.
there was times when you were still like, just what are you doing? Why are you why are your legs open all the time?
Well, I think they really wanted to. Like Lara Croft was like the first sex symbol in video games.
Yeah.
And unfortunately with that...
Except for the people who got off on Metroid.
Yeah. They really, like, physically...
Freeze frame, that last shot. Chick!
They physically, toned her down a lot. They toned down the boobs, they toned down the butt, like, she's a
can you imagine a woman that proportionate doing those flips and everything?
Right?
She knocked herself out.
So, I mean...
oh, man, those things would be flying in your face.
She's slender, but she's athletic. She's not... She doesn't fit that stereotype of these women that, like Bayonetta with the giant boobs and the giant ass wearing the suit.
I will say this: Bayonetta is one of the best goddamn games ever.
It is so amazing,
come on.
so amazing.
One of the reasons I'm getting a Wii U.
But yeah, I mean,
I just can't even.
But I will say, it's a lot better than that last Metroid Prime game they did for the Wii.
The other M.
The other M, which let me tell you,
that ruined her so bad.
That really they took this girl and made her in like a teenage, just like whining about everything.
Is it a prequel story? Is it a prequel story to the original Metroid mythos?
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while.
Because if so, then I could somewhat see it. Like they're trying to make it so she later Samus seems harder because she was like that before. But if it's not, then I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't believe that was it. I mean, they really just tore that character just terribly. It just was not. I mean, she was just so whiny, and it was like always chasing after that guy. I can't remember his name.
I will say in Metroid, I think it was Metroid 2. Yeah, I think Metroid 2 was like the first game to introduce the feeling. This is gonna sound weird coming from me. A motherly feeling in a video game was because she brought the Metroid, the little baby Metroid, with her to these scientists and everything, and that thing grew an attachment to her.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is an evil villain that I was killing, and now I don't want to kill it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will say the new Lara Croft is kind of been Hunger Games-ified.
Hunger Games-ified?
Yeah, because it's like. Because when that game came out, it was like a lot of bows and arrows, like women with bows and arrows was like a big thing, and it worked. I mean, it's a great game.
Yeah, that's almost everything now.
And it really does portray a girl.
I mean, look at Crisis 3. What's the first thing they feature? Bow and arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Super suit, bow and arrow.
But I gotta say, she's a tough girl too, and it really portrays a great character that's not Tomb Raider yet, but she's going to be.
Yeah.
So she's still on that path.
Is it the same plot? Because the original plot of Tomb Raider is that she was like an aristocrat or whatnot from a really wealthy British family.
Oh yeah,
who was sent off on a vacation before she came back and was going to be handed off to this guy for marriage. And she was like, "That was fun. Screw you. I'm going to do some more."
Goodbye.
Well, from what I remember, it's like she's just fresh out of school.
Yeah, pretty much.
And she's going on this.
It's more of like an interest kind of thing that becomes something more.
Yeah.
But she's so much more balanced as characterization-wise.
And I don't remember the name of the voice actress who also does her movie, but she's fantastic.
Yes. I have a huge problem with female voice actors just because they're so whiny and high-pitched all the time.
I will say, female Shepard, Femme Shep is 50 times better than Man Shep.
She is my absolute favorite.
I can't remember her name, but I've seen her. She was at the very first convention I went to.
She can do pretty much anything, and she's awesome. Her voice is not annoying. She portrays a strong.
I love Femme Shep.
Femme Shep is so much better than male Shep.
I got a question. Who is your favorite female character in a video game? Doesn't have to be main character. It could be side. It could be anybody.
Shit, I would still probably go with female Shepard. She doesn't. Yeah, I mean, when I think of a character that I would want to portray or put myself in their shoes, it'd probably be her. I mean, she's got the strength. I mean, she's got the ability. I mean,
she can do a man's job.
Yeah, and when just comparing the voice actor wise, she put so much more emphasis on things than the male version did. She made everything seem like this is really something that we have to do, not because we want to, but because we have to. And there's so much more power coming from her than the otherwise.
I mean, honestly, I played the first time with a male character, and I played a female, and just the tone feels different, and it's great.
It does,
and especially for 3.
You're not walking around everybody going, "What can you tell me about the Reapers?"
Yeah.
And then she has to say, "I have to go."
Yeah.
I have to go.
And it's
I
like,
should go.
And you can actually like watch her change over time. Like from the beginning, everything is very, very stable, very militaristic, very we're getting this done. We have to go here and we have to do this. And then after a while, it becomes so much more. They're destroying things. We have to stop this. These are my friends. I don't want my friends to get hurt. And then by the time the third game comes and it's these are my friends' homes and they're getting blown up and now they're coming after Earth and. I mean, she just does such a better job. Mm-hmm. And speaking of Other M, it was part of it that I found so annoying is that she was a great protagonist as a silent character. I mean, she didn't.
Her silence gave her character.
Yeah.
She's silent not because she can't speak. She's silent because she's choosing to be.
And it
exactly.
was Ninja Theory, I think, that made that game, right? Or who was it that published it? Because they did Dead or Alive as well, which makes a lot of sense.
Well, that makes a lot of
that's
sense.
why you see her in that blue.
Shit.
That's why you see her in that blue jumpsuit. That's just curvy as all hell.
What are you talking about? Those people clearly have a full understanding of the female body. Don't you know that when you're standing perfectly still, boobs go all over the place?
All over the place. You don't even
That
need to
being
move in the
said, I recently got Dead or Alive 2 on the original Xbox
God.
because of all the memories.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Well,
I'm
it's like
sitting here
that
right
game
now,
came out during
my
puberty.
boobs are floating
oh
away.
yeah, and so did Soul Calibur. I always remember looking at Ivy's jokes.
Oh my god.
But anyway, all right. So who would you say
Well, see, as a female, like I grew up with like all these male characters everywhere, and I was still like, you guys.
Hope
are
this
dicks.
isn't Chris's blood.
Okay, yeah, I do have like a female boner for Chris Redfield, but
You know who I have a male boner for?
You know you have a female boner.
I have a total male boner.
You only have a boner.
I only have a boner. Right? I'm sorry. Is Henry Cavill, who plays Superman now?
Yeah.
I just
God.
love Henry Cavill. I got such a man crush on him.
I was actually really surprised that they picked him. I wasn't.
Me too.
expecting that.
He's not conventional, and
Yeah.
I saw him in
Yeah.
the Tudors.
I wish you
knew
kept the
how
beard the entire movie.
Me too.
Make him hardcore.
But man, he
Superman.
always had like tufts of hair everywhere, even when he was in that suit. It's like chest hair.
Manly.
Manly. So, Blue, who would you say your favorite female character in the game would be?
Wind Waker's version of Zelda.
I love that.
She was so fucking awesome in that game. It was the first time where Zelda is like presented to you not as I'm a princess and my kingdom's in trouble. Because in all those games, that's how she starts.
Yeah.
She eventually becomes a badass when she's like, I will shoot. You hit him with a sword.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's awesome. In this one, she comes up and she's like, I'm a pirate. Your village is in my way.
Yeah.
Fuck your village.
No,
Fuck your village.
No, I'm
oh, your
hungry.
sister got taken away? At least it wasn't me. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome.
That's so awesome.
Speaking of like,
And it wasn't like her rebelling against her throne. She
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
did not know she was Zelda.
Speaking
yeah.
of like older type stuff, I don't know if you guys remember. I was gonna do a review on it not so long ago, like a throwback Thursday, but Age of Empires 3 came out a long ass time ago now. I think like early 2000s, but that was one of the first times I can remember a female protagonist who was really, and I'm 99% sure it was voiced by Jennifer Hale.
It probably was.
She's
But
everywhere.
It was
She's
the,
everywhere.
the girl at the very first campaign you do. You got the Scottish guy, and they're coming and looking for the Fountain of Youth and shit. And they run into this pirate girl, and they end up teaming up with her. And she was so awesome, and she was just so done with everyone else's shit. She was great. She was probably one of the first female characters I ever really got into. And I don't even remember her name.
But she was fantastic.
But she was awesome.
She was
Actually, all the women in that game were pretty tough. Because in the third campaign, you played the great granddaughter of the original guy, and she was also like, "Look, I'm just looking for money. Get the fuck out of my way."
That's another one. I like Jill Valentine. It was the first female character I fell in love with.
Yeah.
Jill got ruined for me when they in Resident Evil 5.
And then when they gave her blonde hair.
Yeah, they made her blonde, and then she was
How did that happen?
like she had the
That was.
parasite
It
on
says
her
in the
chest.
game that was like a side effect of having the parasites put on her, is that she went blonde.
Yeah, apparently the
With blue eyes, too.
parasites just
We become Germans.
yeah, it turns you into Wesker Jr. pretty much.
Pretty much.
Except without the English.
Yeah.
Without that, no, of course not.
I pretty much probably have a great idea of who you're gonna say, but who is your favorite female?
Mine's got to be Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite.
Oh wow, different.
Who did you think I was?
I thought it was gonna be Ellie from Last of Us.
Oh man, that was awesome too. But I really got to say,
Elizabeth was awesome.
she just because
She was fun.
what I loved
She was a
about
little almost too ditzy for me when it
Oh,
was just like all the random moments of, oh, look what's over here.
I don't-
Oh, look what's over here.
She reminded me of Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Not only because she looked exactly like her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it was just that character was just so interesting because, like, at the beginning, you're going to find whoever the lamb is, which they call her, and so it gives you this image. And then when you finally do meet her, you realize she's just this girl who's just like alone in the world, and really she's as disconnected as Booker DeWitt is in this world. Even that game's really like about fathers and their relationships with their daughters.
We should mention spoilers.
Spoiler alerts. But
the game's been out for over a year now. You all suck.
You pretty much should have played it by now.
You pretty much should have. And I just
and if you didn't get it on the Steam,
I got it for $18.
Yeah. So I'm gonna explain everything. But anyway, but it's just like
stick to the story.
All right, but like her relationship with like DeWitt and then Comstock and then like with Songbird, Songbird in particular, I thought was really interesting because the first BioShock kind of created that idea of like the little sisters. And
you have the little sister and then this big guy protecting her from evil.
Guy that just genuinely love her, and I think in Songbird you can really see that in some really key moments.
I think the big sisters weren't given as much characterization as I would have liked to see.
They were just
the big sisters were there to violently keep people away. The big daddies were there so that the little sisters would run to the big daddy.
Yeah, the big sisters, I feel
they
like
were created as a violent force, whereas the big daddy was created as a threatening force.
But I feel like they could have been so much more interesting if we were given some kind of story to them. Instead, they were just here's the big sisters.
I believe they're actually little sisters that grew up were turned into big sisters.
Yeah, you see,
that's the concept.
BioShock 2. I mean, I know you and I differ on this, but for me, like BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite are like those two. BioShock 2, I don't really think too much, but they all really have merits that make them interesting. But I think you're right.
BioShock 2 it had its problems. I thought the end was pretty shit. I liked I really, really, really liked the DLC for it. Can't remember what it was called. I think it was like Medusa's Lair or something's Lair. I don't know. I really, really liked that one. I thought it was really well done, and it had a lot of heart to it. It was actually a lot sadder than I was expecting.
See, and I really liked...
But I didn't like the ending of 2, like actual real 2. I thought it was pretty shit. You play this guy the entire time, and then you just wind up dead at the last second.
I liked it because it closed off Raptor's story in BioShock, because most of us knew by the time 2 was coming out that there's going to be a 3, and we all don't think it's going to take place in Rapture.
Yeah,
it's like you can't do it too many times. You're going to kill it, and they know that because it's a smart video game and story developing people.
The biggest,
they did finally get out.
I appreciate stories that they don't. Like, the author doesn't tell you what's going to happen or tell you, everything.
I like that you picked up bits and bits of information through the audio
So,
logs.
even with Songbird, for example, even if you get all the audio logs, you still don't know 100% everything about this thing, like how it came to be. All you really know is Fink was looking on at Suchong, and Suchong was looking on at Fink, and they were getting ideas off each other. And he saw what Suchong was doing with the Big Daddies and was trying to find a way of imprinting that. But what's interesting is that Suchong even says in the DLC that Fink was able to imprint Songbird on Elizabeth in a way that he couldn't do with the Big Daddies.
Yeah.
There was something different about that relationship. And especially the end of...
The Songbird seemed like the perfect mix of the Big Sisters and the Big Daddy, because it had that it wants to protect this girl, but it wants to do it violently. If it's like the Big Daddy would only be violent if somebody was like legit, if it visually saw you hurting the girl, then you're dead. If you're just walking by the girl, it's not going to touch you.
Yeah, it would just stand there and go, man.
Big Sister, you're walking by the girl, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Songbird was like a blending of that, where it's like it'll sit there and watch you, but if it gets in its head that you're going to try and do something, it'll get you first.
Yeah.
We spent this whole time talking about female stereotypes, but there's also male stereotypes that are...
We started with that.
Too.
Yeah, we did with Doom.
Yeah, but I think they get worse. We did start off a little bit with Duke Nukem, but...
Groovy.
Yeah. Pretty much almost every game you play, America has this,
We're going hipster.
America has a really big love of... late 20s, early
Nathan
30s,
Drake.
white males with
white
blue
boys.
eyes, with dark hair and blue eyes.
You see Nathan Drake's pop up in just about every adventure type.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's like that's the only
The new
type
Dante
of
is a young Nathan Drake.
Yeah, that's
we like cocky.
It's like the only type of male that there is 30-something dark hair, blue eyes.
You know, I got a question for you. How do you feel about Dragon Age Inquisition having its? I don't think it's really the first openly gay character because they've had others in the past. But what do you think about
Zeppelin?
You know, in all honesty, I don't really care. Like, I don't care if you're gay or if you're not. I don't really give a shit. My thing is, like, when they come in to games that you have the option to have romantic involvement, I think anyone that you have the option to have that with, it should go both ways. But it shouldn't be so blatant. Like in Dragon Age 2, like, of all the characters that you can, like, have a relationship with,
of all the characters you can bang
from like right from the start.
Yeah,
you don't do that. Nobody does that because that is the first way to have a relationship end is by starting off with that shit.
Just spread your legs.
With characters like Isabella, it makes sense. She's a dirty whore pirate.
I was just about to talk about that.
But characters like Anders, who sincerely don't want a relationship because they're afraid that they're going to hurt you and that they know that they will, then don't make it so blatantly obvious that they're hitting on you. Or Fenrir, who doesn't understand what any of that relationship stuff is.
It's all derived from the character. I mean, sex is not a bad thing, but if you use it in a way that's just cheap and just like for laughs,
it doesn't need to be
it's
trashy.
horrible. It doesn't need to be trashy. It's got to come from someplace, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the only character that you really built an actual relationship with was not a relationship optioned character. It was Varric. I mean, you don't end up in a relationship with him, but he's the only one that you feel like you've actually built a friendship with.
And that was the dwarf, right?
Yeah, he was awesome.
Dwarf.
He was fantastic.
He was a good character.
And I'm glad they're having him in the next one too. Of course, I already have my own issues and reserves with that game.
Oh boy, another time, maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely for another time.
Yeah.
My input on gay characters and characters you can have relationships with. And this is going to be me fanboying, but the absolute greatest example of that is from the game Persona 4.
Oh.
How did I know?
There's a spoilers. There's a character named Kanji who you don't know his sexuality. He doesn't even know his sexuality. I've been playing the game for over 200 hours now. I still do not, because I have not looked up things. I haven't looked anything up online. I'm like, no, this is a game that I love so much. Everything I do is going to be me figuring it out.
Yeah.
So far, I've been doing a run where I'm doing every quest that I'm finding throughout the city.
Nice.
I still don't know whether or not Kanji's a possible relationship for the main character, who's a male. It seems very likely that it is, but he's also questioning because he has a crush on a character that looks like a guy that he thinks is a guy that turns out to be a girl. So maybe he's not gay.
You know, I wonder if that's maybe an allegory to Shakespeare's. Oh God, what is it? Isn't it Twelfth Night?
It's the one where the lady who's portraying
Viola, who portrays a male, and by the end, even though God, was she married? God, I can't remember.
Other lady. Other lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though Viola, even though she marries the guy that she wants at the end, sometimes he still refers to her in the male aspect, and so it's that question of would he have been okay if she actually ended up being male?
Yes, and that just makes the character depth
Did I seriously just bring up Shakespeare?
Yes, you did. That was beautiful.
You just equated Persona 4 to Shakespeare.
Yes,
you are welcome.
Finally, it happened. But I will say, like after your description, Blue, it really just reminds me of Smithers from The Simpsons.
Yes.
Smithers became so much less awesome to watch after he openly came out gay.
Since he was openly gay, and the best thing about that character before that was you never knew. And it was so funny.
No, you knew, but you never.
Yeah, but you never
knew, but you didn't know.
So then when he became openly gay, it's like there's nothing against that. It's just it's not funny anymore.
You're not fun anymore.
It's not funny. And,
yeah. I mean, it's. I guess you could equate sexuality these days with religion. It's okay to have one, but don't swing it in someone's face.
So I really
that goes for a lot of things.
What I gotta say about a gay character in a game is really, I don't swing that way, but if I did, I'd be thankful that at least there is that option for people that are.
I mean, in all honesty, when I play a male character, like when I went through and played a male shepherd or a male hawk or a male warden, or a male warden, like I do look for because I'm straight, I still look for a male character. So even though I'm playing a male, I still look for a male character.
I do that every single time. I play female characters all the time. They're always lesbians when I play.
Yeah. So it's not. Yeah. So I like that there's a gay option just because my male is going to end up being gay.
Mm-hmm. Though I gotta say, when I was female ship, I had to get all over Garrus.
Nobody denied
when I was
Garrus.
Male ship, I had to get over.
Oh, me too. But
those calibrations.
Oh, they need tuning, baby. But Thane,
he's so fun to tease.
But then Thane, he's so deep, dark, and mysterious.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
God, but his... Oh, man.
He's been smoking a bit too much.
I love it. That's what Kepro syndrome will do to you, damn it.
He's slowly dying.
He's slowly dying.
Might as well live out the last of his days.
With one more cigarette.
He didn't even make it through the game.
Man, I wish he had.
I know. That was. I feel like
Mass Effect 3.
I
what
feel
the
like
hell?
I feel like all the relationships that you could start in Mass Effect 2 rather than starting in 1, I feel like they really got the shit end of the stick in Mass Effect 3.
Oh, God.
With the exception
Don't
of Garrus.
get me started. My love interest was Tali from the start. You couldn't have Tali in the first game.
Nope.
Second game, you have her. Third game, they throw Liara at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hi, it's been a while.
You see,
like, you still love me, right? You see, I'm like, I don't want, we're in a war. I don't want you to die.
I've got no problem with Liara throwing around. I mean, she was mine. So.
She was my first one, and then I'm like, but Tali's a lot better. And then they throw her in my face at the very beginning of the game before I even, hours before I even have a chance to see Tali again. And she's like, you still love me, right?
Yes.
Right? I heard you had a thing with Tali, but that doesn't mean anything.
But you know what?
And I'm sitting here like, we could die right now. I don't want you to give up
I gotta
on
say,
hope.
the way the characters came into that game was really unproportional. I mean, especially, if you had a relationship with Miranda, which I did in the second game.
Yeah.
It's like she's hardly in it,
Yeah,
really.
it was shit.
It's like, man,
Miranda,
I'd love to have more of that,
Jack,
but... Jack, Jack.
Yeah.
Although Jack was a badass in
Jack was great.
Yeah, I mean, any character that you romance there, with the exception of maybe Garrus and Tali, just ended up really shitty. Like, you never even got to see them. Oh, I mean, look at Jacob. You finally find him, and he goes off and has a baby with another chick. Like, excuse me?
Seriously, that game really made me realize, if you compare 3 to 2 as far as, at least relationship with characters, it's definitely poorer. And, it's just, there's got to be more interaction there with characters, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that's something that I love so much about Mass Effect is the characterization and how they really did break so many of those stereotypes going into it. I mean, that was a game that you got to have almost limitless options to what you wanted to do, and all of them had actual story and dialogue, and that game was
legit story.
Yeah, it was really
it was good.
That game was a pioneer for what games should have been.
Mass Effect is such a great space opera, the old school,
truly.
because I'm a big fan of science fiction, so whenever there's a new science fiction movie or game coming out, I just gotta have it,
Yeah,
and smart science fiction is.
It's
really
hard to do.
It's hard to do.
Because there's so much that's already been done, and you don't want to step on any toes.
Yeah.
But my concept always was it's okay to steal from a whole bunch of things, put it all together, and make something that's actually good. Because every one of those things had flaws.
Yeah, and every one of those things stole from something else.
Exactly. So it's okay to mash it all together and give us something that
I remember
you think is flawless.
I remember Woody Allen, the director, saying, he was watching a Mark Bergman film and saying how, what's the point of filmmaking anymore? He already reached the mountaintop. He already reached the pinnacle. There's nowhere else for us to go. But you always try. Mm-hmm. You always come up with your own mountaintop.
There's always an envelope to push.
Yep, there's always something you can do. You never want to just give up, because then what's the point?
Very true.
That being said, any last thoughts on the original topic?
Oh, God. We did cover stereotypes.
We covered a lot of
pretty
stereotypes.
good.
And there is no such thing as a podcast that doesn't go off center.
I think
that's true.
That's
we
good.
went all over the board, but we did kind of originally stick with...
Yes.
That was
we
not
did
bad.
talk about stereotypes.
And Blue, this beer is not bad at all.
Land sharks. My buddy Trevor described it the best. He said...
Why was I not offered one?
Do you
"Oh,
want
you
one?
I brought 3.
Yes.
All right.
Go get her one. My buddy Trevor described it as the best because I was drinking it and he was like, that's like the 7-Up of beers. It's not the best tasting, but god damn, you're gonna feel refreshed.
No, you see, Miller High Life is the champagne beers, baby.
The champagne?
Champagne.
Yeah, but that comes in a can.
I know. Oh, you know, they do have them in a cylinder bottle, too, though.
I know.
Oh my God.
I was making a joke.
Oh, you better be making a joke over there.
So, I think that's about good for the first podcast.
All right.
Thank everybody for joining us.
Thank you all for joining us for
Thank
this
you.
bizarre and strange rant. What a long, strange trip it's
You
been.
can
Man,
find
it's been wonderful.
You can find all three of us here at Geek Horizons doing multiple different shenanigans. And hope you all join us for the next one.
Yeah,
Yep.
come and visit us at GameGal.net.
See you soon.
See ya.